Hello and welcome to NAIFA Live. I'm your host, Zach Hewells. As always, we are so excited to have you join us today, and we have another fantastic speaker for today's program. And of course, after today's program, we will have Q&A with the speaker herself. So if you have any questions, please keep them ready for the Q&A at the end of the session today. Now we are going to turn things over, as always, to John D. Richardson of NAIFA, Tennessee for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, John. And now I'd like to turn things over to NAIFA CEO Kevin Mayu for some NAIFA announcements.
Hello, NAIFA Nation. Welcome to NAIFA Live. In February, we had a great I Love NAIFA month, and I want to thank all of you that participated in social media. Collectively, our posts received more than 75,000 impressions, and our overall LinkedIn visits increased by 134%. Thank you for posting about NAIFA, why you care about this organization, this profession, and each other. And thank you for using the hashtag NAIFAProud so that we could find your posts and we can reshare them with everyone throughout the NAIFA Nation and all those that follow our social media. During February, we also had a special membership promotion that went out where we provided gift cards for those of you that referred someone who joined NAIFA. Close to 50% of the new folks that joined NAIFA in February were due to your direct referrals, with 62 new members coming from your efforts referring folks to join their professional association. Thank you for helping us grow. NAIFA Live, as you know, is our national membership meeting. And I also want to point out that this month we have a membership satisfaction survey that we've put out. We would love to hear your feedback so that we can continue to improve on the programs and services that we provide you, our members from coast to coast. And we know that your time is valuable. So to encourage you to participate in the survey, we're giving everyone who participates a $10 Starbucks gift card if you've completed the survey. We've already had more than 250 responses, but that's just a small drop in the bucket representing our NAIFA membership from coast to coast. We'd love to hear from you because we want to make sure that we are building the best, most impactful professional association we possibly can for you and for our members from coast to coast. We're going to have a link to that survey and a follow-up email that we'll send you following today's program. Please, if you haven't participated yet, we'd love to hear your thoughts so we can continue to do a better job serving you. And so since so many of you took the social media challenge last month during I Love NAIFA month, here's our next challenge. And that is getting the word out not only on why you belong to NAIFA, but also how NAIFA is the critical voice of Main Street USA to policymakers in all 50 state capitals and in our nation's capital. And there's no more powerful way to display that voice by having hundreds and hundreds of NAIFA members come to our nation's capital for the NAIFA Congressional Conference. That's coming up May 23rd and 24th. We hope that you'll join us there. With the need to pay for COVID and now Ukraine, there's lots of tax challenges that are on the table. Now more than ever, we need to make sure that we have a strong voice in Washington, D.C. so that people understand how life protection products are critical to every American, and putting together the right financial plan so they are properly prepared for their future is the right thing for everyone on every street all across this great country. Please help us. Please be there in Washington, D.C. Help add your voice so that we can make sure that policymakers understand how things impact folks all across this country in all 50 states. With our voice being loud and strong and representing all 435 congressional districts, policymakers listen. Let's bring that voice to our nation's capital, May 23rd and 24th, Washington, D.C. And also, while we're at it, so many of our state chapters are doing a fantastic job passing really good legislation that again helps people be financially prepared for life, but also stopping really bad proposals. When you have state advocacy wins, let's post those on social media too. Let's make sure everyone understands the good work that NAIFA members do for our citizens all across this country and in every state all the time. And since today, this meeting is here for professional development, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our Apex event, which is going to be our premier sales summit event, which will be held at the Arizona Biltmore coming up in August. We hope that you'll join us. At our website on NAIFA.org, we'll have information about the Apex event. The full page will be coming live towards the end of this month. But if you'd like to find out about things when they come out, there's a simple thing you can click on there that says, hey, I'm interested, and we'll send you updates as more and more information about Apex comes out. But it's going to be absolutely fantastic at the Arizona Biltmore coming up in August. And again, thank you. At NAIFA, we love our members. We love the great work that you do, and it's an honor and a privilege to work with you every day to help amplify that voice. Now let's get the word out on all the great things we're doing, because together we can take on anything. Now today, we've got a great speaker here for you for NAIFA Live, Sheryl Hickerson, who's the CEO of Females in Finance and a terrific friend and supporter of NAIFA. We're so glad that she's here to join us here today to share some words about discovering how you can have new digital marketing opportunities and bring you tremendous results as a professional. Sheryl, thank you for joining us. Please welcome.
Well, hello, everyone. It is Sheryl Hickerson, and I'm the CEO of Females in Finance. And today we are going to be talking about the tactics and tips for results you just never thought were possible, especially when it comes to digital marketing. Now, digital marketing is still the way to go to grow. And I have been saying this for probably 10 plus years on the speaking circuit of going out and talking to financial service professionals about ways to get your thought leadership out there. And today what we're going to do is talk about some video marketing tools like TikTok. Yes, don't click off yet. Hear me out because I have some ideas around it. LinkedIn Live and some others. And no, you're not going to have to dance to a song or lip sync a song or come up with a funny rap or something like that. Just trust me on the process. Okay. And there's compliance hurdles. They're real. And I want to address them in this presentation today with you, because there's ways that you can work with your compliance wrappers and your officers in order to make certain that you're facilitating the best conversation out there according to those rules. And I'm a big believer in community. In fact, I'm here today because of the NAIFA community. So let's just get in here and do this thing. As I mentioned, my name is Sheryl Hickerson, and I absolutely love questions. So you're going to see on every single slide, there's going to be a phone number there. You can literally text me questions. That way you don't have to type them into the chat box. You don't have to do anything other than just send me a text message, and then I'll be certain to get back and answer them. Most of them I'll be able to touch on during this presentation, but if not, we can also follow up that way too. So away we go. Here's what we're going to cover today: video marketing, because I want you to learn how to embrace it. We're doing video marketing right now, so it's not as scary as everyone thinks. Compliance, you got to do it. So I don't want to negate the fact that many of us have compliance situations out there, and I want to talk about what that looks like today. And then, of course, community, because I am a community building believer strategist, and you can also believe it. But I do want you to remember to use your phone during this presentation and text your questions, and I will try to answer them anonymously. So ask anything that you'd like if it has to do with this presentation or any other marketing question for that matter, because if you're wondering, the likelihood is very high that somebody else is also wondering the same question. So I want to address elephants in the room, gorillas in the room, the big, hairy, audacious ideas of, why you can't do something. So I want you to know right now, you do not sound or look weird on video. So just take that out of your mind, because it's just an excuse for you not to do something that feels uncomfortable. And I used to be that person. And I believe that the only way to, do something is to go through the hard parts of it. So I want to talk honestly about the reasons why we're not doing video, because I think that there's a lot of marketing professionals out there touting that you should be doing these things. And we know you're not doing them because you've got your hang up about, my voice sounds weird when I hit playback, Sheryl, or I think my face looks weird, or, even right now I have a hair that's out of place and I just move it and keep going. You do not look or sound weird. Your voice does not sound weird. Now, I want to explain it though, because then for some of you who are really analytical on here, when you're talking, you're hearing your voice between your ears. And so there's a vibration inside of that. When you're talking into the mic and you play it back, you're like, that's my voice. Yeah, that's literally your voice. That's your real voice. It's just hearing it differently because in our head, it sounds different. So it's not that it sounds weird. And I guarantee if I asked any of your family members, they'd be like, no, I love this person. I love their voice. So I want you to get that out of your head. And you also don't look weird on video. It's not that it's making you look, one way or another. Stop thinking like that, seriously, because honestly, people are paying very little attention to those parts of the video as much as the presentation. I would be more worried about the things around you in your video, making sure you have a good set to work with versus you yourself. Do not change you. You are perfect just the way you are. And these are just excuses, and they're going to hold you back. And it's actually going to hold your business back if you're not out there doing these things. And I'm all about doing more business, getting in front of more clients, making more money. And we just got to get you to push through it. And I think I would be doing you a disservice if I told you, oh yeah, it's fine. You don't have to do video. You have to do video today. It's just the way it is. You've got to find a way to get comfortable with being in front of the camera. And I'm going to just keep repeating to you, this is not going to go away. So let's just do it already. This particular quote is from a friend of mine, Joe Polizzi with Content Marketing World. And I have to tell you, he says it best right here, because one of the other excuses I get a lot of time is the cost. The sheer cost of video production today has actually come down to a point where there are no barriers to entry. Sorry. So if that was going to be your excuse, just can't do it. Every single person I see has one of these devices in their hand. And if that's the case, then you need to be in places where they can play videos, because they're engaging with 100% more information year after year and making buying decisions based off of those videos. So if you try to counter with the cost, I'm just going to tell you, stop it. No, it's literally almost no barrier to entry today. So YouTube is free. Facebook is free. Anchor is free. You can take some pretty darn good video with an iPhone. And I would even go back to say 7 was pretty good if you've got an older iPhone. I have an iPhone 11. I know there's up to a 13 out there now. These are phenomenal camera and video production equipment that's built right inside of your phone. And, hosting the video, you can edit it with little to no production cost. You literally can go into Anchor and edit any video you want. YouTube has an entire YouTube creator studio that you can go in and make edits as well. So you don't need production crews. No more these days of, flying in or driving in someplace and having this full on production crew, unless you're doing something more for like television, let's say. That's a little different. So I could appreciate if somebody came back and pushed on that. But there's just no more editing software or specialists really needed. If you've got a fairly young person in the office, they're probably already creating video, and they could be a really good resource for you to make a very high quality video production to little to no cost. The kids are literally cranking out videos today faster than we can even upload a photo on LinkedIn. So if you came here thinking, I'm going to let you get away with some excuses, that's not my job. That's not my job at all. I would be doing you a disservice as a community member of NAIFA. I want you to get out there and get your greatness into the world. And you can do this. You really can. You can pick a multitude of platforms to do this in too. I can literally hear some of you going, oh, I can hear it. I can hear the, and you know what? Fight the resistance. I just want to address it right off the bat. Fight the resistance, because I'm going to tell you to do it. And here's the best part today. If anybody's ever been on a presentation with me, I always leave you with marketing ideas. And I think I have at least 9 to 12 of them in this presentation. So if anything else, just stay tuned and listen to this, because you're going to get some really cool ideas, because I always have your back. Now let's jump into what video marketing looks like today for the most part. Right in front of you, you have TikTok, LinkedIn Live, and Facebook Live. These are the 3 big ones right now. Yes, there is YouTube Live, and those are connected in different ways, but these are the ones where I really think you have some ability to get some traction. And so I want to talk about TikTok right off the bat, because the platform has amazing growth in terms of popularity and in usage. Because once upon a time when it first started, I get it. People were dancing. It was funny to watch. People doing pranks, lip syncing songs, but no more. People are using that platform in a way to get their thought leadership out too. And the type of video content shared on it is really changed since its first launch. So you don't have to do the dance or the lip sync to get the followers and the connection. So just bear with me on it, because I know some of you will go, Sheryl, Just trust the process. Trust the process. Now, LinkedIn Live always tends to be a little bit more friendly in the financial service space because we see it as a professional platform. And while it is a social network, in order for you to meet business professionals, it's just actually unlike any of the other social media platforms out there. You have to think really strategically in order for you to get what you share on LinkedIn to stand out among the 30 million pages of qualified and active people that are out there. So you got to be really strategic in what that looks like and how you present yourself through the content has a really big impact on your own personal brand as well. So I'm going to give you some ideas on how to use LinkedIn Live and then Facebook Live. I feel like Facebook Live is like the grandparent of live video streaming, or you can call it the grand, instead of grandpappy, the grand appy. I literally just made that up. The grand appy of video marketing. And you don't have to use Facebook in order to be successful. It's true. But simply put, Live really allows you to, on the run, have a mobile Facebook app to broadcast live videos to your friends and larger public. So I think it's a really great, use of time, easy to use. I love easy to use. And most in the past, one of the things I want to remind everybody is Facebook Live actually used to be only for celebrities. Celebrities were the only ones who had the opportunity to get out there and share a story about something. And then they flipped it over and started allowing consumers to go live. Now, I'm going to tell you how incredible Facebook Live really is and the reach that it has out there in the community. So once upon a time, many of you remember there was a woman who did a Facebook Live. She was sitting in the Kohl's parking lot, and she's known as Chewbacca Mom. And I'm going to take a moment because I know I can almost hear people going, yeah, I remember her. She had the most watched Facebook Live at the time, Facebook Live video ever. So I want you to think all those celebrities, all the people, and she had the most Facebook Live watch ever because she went into Kohl's to buy her son a birthday present. And when she came out, she simply could not depart with it because she was so in love with it. Gets on Facebook Live, laughing hysterically. And I'm going to make you guys probably go cringe for a hot second, but just bear with me. Because she went in there and she bought a Chewbacca mask and she was wearing it, I have to tell you, I bought one. I literally bought one. I do. I have it right here. There it is. I love this thing. I love it. And you know what? They sold out of these on Amazon through influencer marketing was what she was doing. And that really was sort of the tipping point on how influencers could actually, help with sales out there. And it still makes me laugh when I see it. And yes, my grandkids come over and they play with it, but that Facebook Live really changed my outlook. I remember sitting there watching her thinking, this is amazing. She's reaching people she's never met before on a very simple topic. Why can't we do this in financial services? So every time you see something that's way outside of our financial service reach, it's really actually not that far outside. Bring it in, flip it around, see how you can make it useful for your own business. So with that said, I'm going to jump into 3 ways that you can use TikTok video marketing. And here's the thing, you could use these on any platform. I know. That's why I told you to hang out. So the first one I have up there for you is going to be tutorials because they're the most popular on all the social media platforms out there to give a tutorial on how to do something, including TikTok. But given that short form nature of TikTok, so you've got 15-minute segments, 60-second segments, 1 minute, and now they go up to 3 minutes. If you're going to do a 3-minute TikTok, you better be like on the brink of delivering something really impactful and powerful, or the person goes swoop and swipes past. So you got to catch them at the beginning. So try to keep your tutorial 60 minutes or 60 seconds and under. Don't go 60 minutes. You can anyway, but go 60 seconds and under. And if you have to, create like a 3-part tutorial on how to do something. And then you post the part 2 down in the comments. So they go to the next one. When you do part 2, you go to part 3, it's in the comments, and so on and so forth. These are, mostly going to be detailed, self-explanatory type of videos. And guess what? In financial services, we're so good at this, right? Let's just be honest. We're so good at this. So tutorials are wonderful. You can also go live in TikTok, and it provides that option to stream live through it. And you should try to incorporate some live video into your content mix, because it's going to give you that opportunity to connect with the audience in real time. That's really what the the whole entire point of going live is being in the moment with somebody, talking to them, having the ability to reach out and learn more about them simply through some live content. And then I love social media challenge, because once upon a time, I was that person who went out there and did the ALS ice bucket challenge. And I love the idea of raising money, doing something sort of silly, I guess, but it really brought an awareness to a really serious issue out there. So a social media challenge that you might be able to present in financial services may be one. You could put a debt challenge out and asking your clients to join you in reducing their debt over the course of 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You choose the time and frame and what that looks like. It may be getting your beneficiaries reviewed over the next 45 days. And for, the people who do that, they can come in your office and do it for free. And that's a good way for them to come in and get to meet you or meet with you on Zoom. And then from there, you do what you do best, which is looking at everything and seeing if you can be a resource for them elsewhere. But these give you 3 really valuable ways to use TikTok to market your business. And the best part, all the content can be repurposed on another site. So you can make a TikTok video, repurpose it to Facebook. You can make a TikTok video and repurpose it to LinkedIn, to Twitter. You get my point. So very repurposable content. Ooh, say that 5 times fast. LinkedIn Live. I do love me some LinkedIn. I'm not going to lie. I love it. I love it. I love it. And what you can do with LinkedIn Live is you can answer common questions. This is so key. And even if your audience isn't asking you questions yet, if you consistently do this, they will start doing it. So that may be questions like getting on and creating how do I roll over my 401k? How do I fill out my employee benefits form? What's the difference between a high deductible plan and a PPO? Might be what's the difference between a hybrid annuity and life insurance? I mean, you can make up any of the common questions you want out there. It could even be questions like, I have diabetes. Can I get life insurance? I have asthma. Can I get life insurance? And you see with a point. So answering common questions on a public format that's live allows those to come in and be able to say to you like, hey, raise a question. I have a question about that. Another one is the top 10 list, because everybody loves a good list. And I have to tell you that women in particular, and I'm overgeneralizing, but women-centric checklists they're magnifico. And you can create a top 10 list of, to do these top 10 things, or the top favorite books, or the top reasons why something didn't work. I love when people talk about things that didn't work, because we tend to love fest on everything on social media. You can actually tell people what you don't like. It's okay. You don't have to agree with everything. Be kind about it, because I do see some of you out there being a little not nice. People can see that and it becomes very off-putting. So do try to disagree in a very amicable way. I am giving that warning with that. And then even like their top 10 reasons to fire someone. There might be that under not meeting production, but it could be other things too. So you could talk about that. But here's the bonus. Add a question at the end that asks the audience what they would add to the top 10 list, because now you're getting engagement for them to saying, well, I like those 10 books, but I would also include fill in the blank. And then it creates, when they do that and they comment, it shows up on their LinkedIn feed, and then other people can comment. If you think that this doesn't work, I'm going to give you an example of something personally. My father passed away January 5th of 2022. My father was in the service. He was very proud of that. I was very proud of that. And I was very sad to see my dad die. He was 82 years old. My father had a fully paid long-term care policy and didn't use his policy because he didn't want anybody to come in the house. True story. He thought that that's the only way you could use his policy. And of course, we all know that's not true. And I posted about the importance of having dialogue around how to actually use policies so that he could have had the best care. And by the time he needed it, he was already ready for hospice, and he passed away 8 days later. That being said, I posted about it on LinkedIn and had an entire little video piece there that I posted. 375,000 people viewed that video. I had something like 8,000 reactions and 2,000 comments. It really does work. So I want to share with you that you can definitely put a problem out there on why this didn't work. And that kind of leads into what happens if you don't do something. What are they missing out on? Well, that was exactly it. What did we miss out on? Well, we missed out on my dad being able to have, people come to the house to deliver his food or clean his house, or there's a myriad of things they could have done. But that's what the case with a lot of things, right? So, I mean, you could even go back into and looking at some of the celebrities who passed away and had no will and trust. And you think that's just crazy, right? We actually think that's nuts. But it just shows you just how prevalent of the problem this really is today. And if that's the case, what we can do is actually go on LinkedIn Live and talk about what's something that didn't work. And then, invite people to actually dialogue with you on that. And the best part on that, I want to remind you, is anyone who likes or comments on your stuff, they're a possible lead. You can follow up because you can actually, when you post that, you can see if they liked it. It sort of reduces the space between you and that privacy parameter around them. And then you can reach out and say to them simply, do not send them the standard LinkedIn, yada, yada. You're going to say, I saw that you liked my video. I really appreciate it. I would like to connect and learn more about your business. Be personal in that connection, but they are a potential lead. And then, of course, Facebook Live, our granddaddy, as I just said before. I do love Facebook Live because it is so easy. I can be on the go, pull up my phone, and go and start talking. And it's just so easy. So here's some ideas that you can do right here. Teach in a class. It's literally one of the most valuable things you can do for your audience on social media is to teach them how to do something and make it free live educational programming to position yourself as a thought leader. Getting your greatness out and into the world, I think it's really, really important. It gives your audience a more robust understanding of what you do, or if you, sell a product, what you're doing there, or the services, if you're doing fee planning, things of that nature. So teach a class, hosting a weekly roundtable. We actually do this at Females in Finance. We have the Tuesday topic where we have a roundtable. Someone comes and talks about a particular topic. We invite the audience to come in and ask questions. So one of the most popular roundtables on Facebook Live that I like to watch is called the Red Table Talk. Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith's wife, but Jada Pinkett Smith in her own right, an actress, an advocate of many things out there that's, very female centric. But it started out, the original production of the Red Table Talk, if you go way back to the very beginning, was just her sitting with her mother and her daughter Willow and talking about topics. It has since then turned to an amazing production. I still enjoy watching it. In fact, I have it to notify me when they do go live and talk so that I can sit and watch it because I just like the roundtable discussions. You could do something very similar. Now, you can't call it the Red Table Talk. That name has been taken. So don't go out there because you'll get somebody who will tap on you and go, no. But you can, during these roundtable discussions, invite participants to field audience questions, give perspective on industry news, or entertain the audience in some way. I'm going to go to the next one real quick because I want to give you a live example of what happened here. Hanging out live. I do this at Females in Finance as well. So basically we have what's called the Thursday Sip and Savor. And this is where we get together, we have coffee, we're working and talking just as if we were in an office. When you work in static environments where you are home at all the time. Now I have been working from home for about, 10 or 12 years, and it's not a big deal for me. But when the world kind of flipped upside down in the year that will not be named, everybody was starting to work from home and finding out they're kind of lonely. So we put a Hangout Live in place to kind of satisfy being able to connect with other people. There was a gentleman that during the quarantine had a live event every month called the Quarantina. And if you know who it is, you can say the name, but he invited all of his connections on LinkedIn and Facebook and all these places. He hired a band because remember, bands aren't playing either because the bars are closed. So he hired the band. Everybody would come to the Quarantina. We would tip the band so that they were actually making money. We were getting entertained. My husband and I sat on this television screen behind me, watched the Quarantina, had some drinks with friends. It was fun. And it was just a really interesting way to use a Hangout Live opportunity on there. So, and the best part about all of these events are you can set up a Facebook event and track who signed up to attend. And then guess what? Follow up with them. Again, another lead opportunity. I love lead opportunities. So 9 ideas right here. We've just blown through that you can use any of these pretty much in any of the platforms, to be honest, but get yourself out there and use video marketing. Now, you got to remember, you also have to be compliant. Some of you have compliance and you have to understand what you can and can't do during video. But a lot changed during pandemic. And that's one of the reasons why I made this one of the things we were going to talk about today on this presentation, because the number one question I get all the time is why they got to be like this, Sheryl. And I'm like, oh, I know. They actually do. The marketing practices have evolved since the 1960s. Not too much, to be honest with you, and you know this already, but until recently with the pandemic, those laws that governed it hadn't actually been significantly updated. And as part of the guidelines, financial firms had to be fair and balanced in their marketing practices. These are not bad things. Just trust me, they're not. And I want to address 2 of the biggest compliance challenges out there, because I hear people talking, and I actually talk to compliance officers, and the 2 big ones that they have are vulnerable consumers and cyber resilience. And what that means is, as we headed into 2022, the pandemic should have been in the rearview mirror, but instead the world is now dealing with variants and, different ways people are interpreting that, what you can and can't do. And I'm not here to argue that, so don't come at me with the comments on it, because that's not the point of this. What I'm saying is it did affect our business, right or wrong, indifferent, I don't care. And we have to keep making adjustments going forward. And the pandemic sort of has slogged on, if we're all being perfectly honest. So those financial service firms that scheduled post-pandemic reviews actually morphed into this rolling review to build sort of an efficacy of a working environment going forward. So a lot of you remember when pre-review, you'd fill all your stuff out, send it in compliance, they review it, come back and red mark it up, and then you can go and post it. A lot of compliance turned on post-review. So they're going, we're going to trust you that you're going to go out there and do the right thing, but then we're going to look at it on the back end and then let you know if there needs to be adjustments made. So that post-review content became really a big change for many of those who have compliance. And I got to tell you, it's no surprise, and it shouldn't be to any of us, that the biggest role that's actually growing out in financial services is compliance. And this is a job that's being hired for quite frequently. So the vulnerable consumer piece of it that I want to remind you is that we want to be certain that our clients have fair, balanced conversation. They need to be able to see that they can make a good outcome on a marketing piece that's been sent out. The cyber resilience part of this, the concerning part of it is Christine Lagarde, who's the chair of the European Central Bank, said that the potential of cyber attacks is the greatest economic threat we currently face today. I know that might be really difficult for you to fully appreciate, because we're in our own, spheres, and we think, oh, there's all these things going on, but cyber attacks are really critically hurting a lot of businesses. And so from the scam artists to people, basically morphing accounts to look like, catfishing your information out there, we have to be constantly aware. And we got to talk to the compliance people. Cyber resilience is not something they were really dealing with 5, 6, 7 years ago at the level they have today. So you got to give them a little bit of a hall pass if they're being conservative in how they look at some of the compliance. Now, if your compliance officer is just saying no to everything, there may be a different problem there, and they just don't want to change with the times. And that's a topic for another day. But for the most part, these are the big ones that I'm hearing back from compliance officers on the conversations going on out there, that they want to be certain are being structured and have some compliance around. So I want you to keep this 1, 2, 3 in mind when you're talking about compliance with video marketing, or any of your marketing for that matter. The very first one is going to be about brand consistency, because in fact, 3.5 times more likely are the brands who are consistent are actually going to enjoy brand visibility, because inconsistent brand presentation, I don't care if you're a small company to a very large corporation, it actually hurts your marketing. So there's a reason why NAIFA uses that particular color of blue, or has that particular style of how they present information, or that particular way that they actually even write some of their stuff. They have a mood board that they follow. Brand consistency means that they show up in a way that's authentic to who they are. And it actually helps decision makers in the process decide, do I want to work with this firm or not? Fair and balanced marketing, number 2, I think on there is also really critical to keep in mind. Are we providing a fair and balanced approach to allow an investor, a potential client, to understand the risk and benefit and be able to make a more educated decision as a client? I have to tell you that the SEC really has kind of crummy rules around it. Sorry, SEC, but it's true, because they're just too vague. And what happens is that people think that there are rules out there, social media rules. There are none. I hate to tell you that. It's interpretations. So if you think of a Venn diagram and you have technology in one space and communication and advertising, right there in the center is social media. And depending on how I look at it versus how you look at it versus how a third person, we could all be interpreting those guidelines very differently and coming up with our own things. And that's the reason why you see maybe one broker dealer doing one thing and another doing completely different things. That's interpretation of those guidelines. So the fair and balanced part is always at the forefront of these dialogues. So I want you to think about that when you create your marketing. And then of course, products and price, because there's definitely strict guidelines in place about what businesses must follow when they share specifications in their marketing collateral. And this is where you want to be certain that you're avoiding giving dollar amounts, having presentations with money pieces in it, et cetera. So do keep these 1, 2, 3 in mind. And for the most part, if you do and you submit it to compliance, it'll likely get approved. But do not try to argue with your compliance people either. They are trying very hard to interpret it in a way that they're in a precarious situation of making certain that the client, the consumer, has fair and balanced marketing, and you are making money, and the company's also making money and avoiding lawsuits. So and worse beyond that, but that's sort of the gist of it. So compliance is really, really important. Community building is what we're going to wrap with today, because it's something that I love and do pretty well. I tell everybody I have limited talents, but this is definitely one of them. And by definition, community building is basically any field of practice directed toward the creation or enhancement of a community among individuals within a region or community. And we're going to talk about air quotes in a hot second. And it's also encompassed under a field of some sort of piece of what you guys do. And it's inherently different for networking organizations. So I think a lot of times people confuse the two of them. Communities are not networks. And the main reason of that is because communities are networks with shared ideas. But networks are where you're going out and you're actually building a relationship to use what somebody else is doing for your own gain. It sounds bad when you say it out loud. You're like, I don't network like that, Sheryl. But we do. We go out and network to see what does somebody have or offer that we can put into our particular arsenal to be able to use to better our positioning, our thought leadership, our clients, et cetera. But communities where I stand up next to you, shoulder to shoulder, and say, okay, how do I help you get there? I want to get there too, but let's do this together. And we build something, we crowdsource whatever that might be. And what that looks like today is, the ways to build the community. Number one, the easiest way is just fix something that went wrong. It's that simple. Figure out what's not right in other communities and do it better. For females in finance, I built a community based on what was lacking when I went out and looked for female-centric opportunities for me to join. And I had been members of lots of them, but they just weren't meeting what I needed. So I built my own, and that's really hard work. I'm not going to lie. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of members, and it's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding because we're fixing what other communities are doing wrong, and we just do it right. And we do it through shared experiences. And that's something that I think a lot of times people forget. So, what is interesting to you could be interesting to somebody else, and so on. And I tell people, and I challenge them from a marketing perspective, if you think that there is not enough shared experience in the world, or you're just too, next one, niche, because you're going to create a niche and you're going to search for networks that work within the same space, guess what? There is an entire community of 100,000 plus people who love Crocs. Yes, I did say Crocs, friends. They're not real shoes. I know you're going to come and say, yes, they are. No, they're not. And yet there's 100,000 plus people in a Facebook group talking about all the cool things about Crocs. Isn't that nuts? But it's true. They created a niche. They found their existing network. They share their experiences. And guess what? They fix what's wrong. They're talking about something they love that I don't maybe particularly like. So guess what? I don't have to be a part of that. So if that's the case, then what we want to do is you build something that you found what's wrong. You're going to share the experiences, and then you create that niche. And some of the things you can do within your community using your video marketing that just told you, making certain you're compliant, is interview guests and make sure that everyone has this really unique value proposition to offer your community. I think that's really important. We do that quite a bit. NAIFA does it. I'm right here. I'm basically being interviewed, and I'm sharing an experience and making a presentation. So NAIFA does this really well. They interview a lot of people through their through their online publications and such. So you get different perspectives of people, and I'm like, I didn't know that, or I never met that person before. They have a really rich and robust community here at NAIFA. They also do shout outs too, can be incorporated at any point in anything that you do. So shouting out your clients who are doing something really great for your neighborhood, shouting out your clients that are opening a second location and sharing that with them. NAIFA does it all the time when they have, the YAT leader of the year, or they have somebody who is an amazing, woman who's working in financial services. So NAIFA does a fantastic job of that. Sort of follow, if you have to, emulate some of the things that they're doing. Brainstorming sessions. I love these. This one's actually my favorite. It kind of takes me back to childhood days when we used to go in, the teacher had the board and the chalk, and she'd write up there a big circle on the wall, and we put an idea. And then from here we had that, and that it gets people's ideas just flowing with, well, I could do that, or that's a good idea, or I hadn't thought about that. And brainstorming sessions are just really rich of opportunity to build community with one another. So think about what that would look like with your business, or how you could, pull in clients to do the same thing. So as we get close, to wrap, I want to, first of all, say thank you to NAIFA, the community they've built here. I'm always grateful for the opportunities like this and many others to share. I love talking about marketing. I love talking about community. Okay, I may not really like talking about compliance, but hey, it's got to be said. But hosting events like this to share ideas, come together, really have camaraderie. I'm just really, really thankful for the NAIFA opportunity today, and for all of you to have spent this time with me. I told you if you just hung in there, I was going to come through with some ideas. I've given you lots and lots and lots of them here that you can probably find at least one that you can put into your practice for 2022. And if you do, I would love nothing more. And I would feel honored if you would tag me in an idea that you used from here in your own marketing, so I can be giving you my kudos from afar and cheering you on for doing such a good job. But if you have the questions, I hopefully have the answers. Hopefully you've been using your text during this presentation. I can answer as we go through. So thank you for your time. I just really appreciate everyone today. Take care, friends.